in 30
There he is.
seconds. In 30 seconds. And here we are on the Being Healthy live stream. Wonderful to have you all with us here today. And wondering if you, wherever you are in the world watching this, if you have holidays that you'll be celebrating, because what is interesting is that every culture, every country has different kinds of celebration. And even if it's the same, they celebrate differently. So today we're going to be looking part of the time, we're going to be looking at prescribed holidays. Prescribed meaning they're formalized. So it's not just something that you celebrate for yourself. For example, you have in December, we have all kinds of holidays that people celebrate. You've got always at the beginning, here's Phil coming in. We've got Hanukkah first, and then that ends on Monday, and then 21st, exactly as that ends, we have the winter solstice. And that's a holiday that's becoming very celebrated now. And some people even have retreats to welcome in the winter solstice and welcome Phil. And then after that, we have Christmas. And then some cultures, they celebrate Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. And they celebrate Boxing Day. In the United States, it's really Christmas Day, depending on the person's culture and their heritage as well. And then some people celebrate none of those. And then some people, like the Russian Orthodox and the Greek Orthodox, they celebrate much later in the Persian New Year afterwards in December, in January, February, all of that. So it's like 3 months of different holidays back to back. So for this reason, I thought it would be really important and interesting to find out from you all, have you ever celebrated another holiday of another culture? And what I'm talking to my co-hosts and to the audience, and what did you learn from it? What did you take away from it? And also, do you subscribe to the notion of mandatory holidays? That's what I call. Let's start with Lisa, who's right now at her family's home on the island.
Yay! I am a big fan of Christmas. It's my favorite. I just I'm so fortunate. We celebrate Christmas Eve. That's like actually our major holiday where I gather with my cousins and my aunties and my cousins' kids and my own immediate family. And to me, it's been a tradition since I was born. So, it's kind of been passed down as people have passed away to different like relatives. But it's a magical. I just love the gathering of all my family. They're a lot of fun, and it's just a beautiful time to be together. And then, Christmas Day is kind of a smaller thing. But I just love the whole lights, the connection, the time to be grateful, it just gives me such joy to experience Christmas. It's really not about the gifts. It's more about just being together, sharing time together, laughter, and just the continuity of that experience.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think it's really important that we take time off and just gather together with the people you want to be with, and even those who might not wish to be there, and just spend time together without having to rush, do something, do another thing. Just be really laid back, and not have to think about tomorrow. I have to do this, to do that. I have to go here, go there. I think it's so important. And Lisa, do you have snow there on the island in the northwest of the United States?
We it's not a consistent thing. When it happens, it's always like such a gift. And over the years, we've had more of it than we used to. I mean, it used to be extremely rare to have snow on Christmas. But this year, the Northwest has had a lot of rain. So there's actually been quite a bit of flooding. But it's not quite cold enough for snow. And I think, given all the flooding that's happened in the area, I think that's probably for the best for these people because they've been through a lot.
Herb, does it make a difference for you because you're a father, what you decide to celebrate and how you do that?
I missed the first part of your question. I don't know if your mic was muted, so I
Yeah,
didn't
everybody
catch all
missed
of
it.
that.
Everybody missed it. That was the question. That was it. I repeated it.
Can I hear it, please?
Yes, yes. So, is it a different? Does it make a difference for you being a father in what you celebrate and how you celebrate it, or you just carry on your family traditions or your neighborhood's traditions or the predominant culture's traditions?
Yeah, I hear you. It's a funny one for me. I've gone through like the motions. I used to be like big on like holiday celebrations, and then I went through a period of my life being somewhat an old stick in the mud, being against it. And then now I'm just relaxed and about it. And with my son, yeah, I allow him to enjoy things for what it is and see it for what it is at the same time. Like, because I remember being a kid, like the magic and nostalgia of Christmas. There's definitely a beautiful spirit around Christmas, and sadly, that can be hijacked by like materialism, consumerism, and all that kind of things. So it's finding a balance and guiding him through life, and to see what it really means and what it is. But I like to celebrate life every single day. So every day is technically a holiday for me in some way. I don't think we should just limit it to a few days of the year. Every day should be a joyous celebration. You know, how we express ourselves, how we live, how we talk, how we show up, have fun, what we eat, put inside of ourselves. Yeah, every act is a moment to celebrate.
Yeah, well, actually, every day is a day of celebration. If you look
Yes.
worldwide, there's always a holiday you can join in, and celebrate. So when I was growing up as a child, we used to celebrate the Chinese New Year, and I thought everyone did. I had no idea that everyone did not. So Phil, in the UK, you have something of a huge tradition that I love around this time of year, which is plum pudding. I have tried many times to make a living foods version of it. Have you tried and have you succeeded? If yes, just unmute first, please, Phil. Unmute first. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry. I've never tried making a living food one, definitely not. I'm just racking through my memory of, have I ever eaten a plum pudding? I don't think I have. I can't remember ever eating a plum pudding in my life.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. What about you, Herb?
I think a plum is a pudding in itself. I haven't
I
had a
love it. I
plum
love it. I
pudding.
love it. But the traditional plum pudding, have you had it?
I don't recall, but I may have done long time ago, but it doesn't stand out in my mind if I have.
Lisa, do you know anything about the plum pudding, which is so British?
I do. I've not had it, but I lived in Scotland when I graduated from college for 6 months. So, I would hear about it. I think I love all the variations in holidays and the food that people choose to have. It's awesome.
Thank you for that. So, what I want us all to speak about today as well is, have you ever tried other people's holidays and celebrations? Have you ever taken part in any of them? And if so, what stood out for you? Starting again with you, Lisa.
Well, I am not 100% sure that this falls on it was a holiday, and I'm not sure if it correlates with this time in our time, but I did Kavelta fish. We were celebrating a Jewish holiday, and I learned a great deal about that experience, because there was a guy that we celebrated with that actually had been in the camp, and that really drove that experience home to me, and gave me a greater awareness of, not all the holidays are happy. There's so that was something that I've experienced. I have experienced Chinese holidays with a friend of mine that's Chinese, and of course, I love all things Chinese food, traditional food. So yeah, I love the experience of learning. I think you learn so much about a culture when you participate in their special days, whether they're days of mourning or whether they're days of joy. I think it's so important to have that experience if you can.
Absolutely, which is exactly why I'm asking these questions. Herb, same question to you.
Yeah, and it's great what Lisa shares. Very similar. Nothing in particular. I'd love to go abroad to other countries like India, especially, and celebrate their festivals and traditions. I suppose when I've become aware that a certain day would be in honor of Ganesha or Shiva, I would celebrate in my own way how I could take part in the prayer, love, and devotion. Even like during times like Ramadan, when Ramadan comes around, I always feel to be involved through fasting. Even some certain pagan celebrations like Sivan and Boltan. There's been a time or period in my life where I've been aware of that there's a culture or tradition that is being celebrated, and to absorb and feel the essence in that. So yeah, most certainly. But I would definitely love to be fully immersed and experience different cultures and traditions to celebrate.
Thank you for that. Yes, India. It brings me back to the fact that I felt that if one would go and travel the full breadth and length of India, one can find a festival to celebrate every single day. And not just that too, but the richness of the celebrations. It's absolutely astounding. But have you ever been to the one that I like the most in in India, which blew me away, is a traditional Indian wedding?
I haven't been to a traditional Indian wedding. I've seen parts of it. It does look amazing. Pretty
It's a
epic.
week long. It's a week long.
Wow.
It never ends. Have you, Phil?
I've never been to a Indian wedding, no. But when I was in India last year, and we were out on retreat, as we were walking from the retreat centre out through the woods back to the main road, we were like, what are all these men doing? What are all these men doing in the woods? What? And then we realised there was a pyre, and there was actually one of the elders from the village. She passed away, and she was being burnt on a massive pyre. So that was a very interesting experience to come across that and pass through that ceremony, because it's so different to what we have here.
That's interesting what you just said. Thank you for that. Yes. And has anybody here been to Mexico celebrating the Day of the Dead? Probably you, Lisa.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was in Honduras for that celebration. But it's interesting because they don't do it the way Mexico does. They go to the graves, and they don't do the the painting of the faces and all that stuff. They honor the dead by going to the graves, much like our Memorial Day. So I found that interesting that there was a a difference in terms of how that is celebrated when I was in Honduras.
Yeah, thanks for that. And which brings me to the point now that we as people, and as people who have been fortunate enough to have experienced other cultures and the holidays of other cultures, we need to be mindful that when we are in certain places, of what it is that we are doing when we insist that we just presume that people are doing exactly what we're doing. And one of the questions that I found to be very shocking to me when I first came to the United States was, so what are you going to do for tonight? Or what are you going to do tomorrow? Or what did you get? And what about if somebody's in mourning? What if somebody's grieving, has just lost somebody or a job or going through a divorce and they just found that out? What if that person wants to be by themselves? It's like it's almost like you're forced to be gay, and in the original sense of the word, and to the forced gaiety and forced I don't want to say frivolity, because not most people are not frivolous with Christmas, but some people are with certain holidays, and it's the lack of compassion that everybody must do the same thing, eat the same thing. What, you don't eat turkey? What do you mean you don't eat turkey? That's not possible. And not accepting that everybody has their own view of what it means to actually accommodate that holiday into their lives. And why it is that some people, when they accommodate that holiday into their lives, they would like it to be slightly different, and they don't want to be constantly bombarded and asked what they're doing or what did they do. Lisa, have you ever had this experience?
Yes, actually, I have really learned to be mindful of the fact that it isn't always joyous for people. I think that I've learned to be more sensitive about, I am super excited about Christmas. I've always been joyful about it and had my version of Christmas. And I didn't realize until I had a friend that it can be a very difficult and painful time for people, and requires sensitivity, because, as you said, not everybody is living their best life. Not everybody has good memories about Christmas. There are people that have lost family members or don't have any family or limited amounts of friends. And so I've learned to be more conscious of my own, just the way I communicate about the holidays, not assuming that it's going to be experienced in the same way as I experience it. And over the years, the holidays have become harder. I've lost family members. Some family members are not doing well physically. So, they're beautiful to me, but they are more bittersweet. So yeah, I've had to learn to really modify how I communicate about the holidays with people. It's good to be aware of that.
Thank you for that. And also, I found out not too long ago that in some households, the idea of Christmas and New Year is one of the most dangerous periods because of domestic violence. That's when it escalates. And for children also who are abused, that's one of the worst times for them. So when we presume that everyone is having the same absolutely festive occasions and welcoming also and joy-filled experiences that we are having, we do not allow the other person to have their experiences and validate what they're going through. Plus, there are a lot of accidents around this time of year, and that's when some people have lost the people they love the most. There are some people who are actually don't know how they're going to pay the rent on the 1st of January. And that's where they are right now. Or if they're going to be losing, they can't, meet their mortgage or their rent. So we need to take in consideration, just because we might be having a joyful, blissful time, that is not true for everyone and not expected to be that way. To allow people to have their experiences and let them feel okay with whatever they're having. Because I think, especially for children, that's what I have witnessed, it's a time of tremendous stress because they're expected to behave a certain way, feel a certain way, do a certain thing. And if the child doesn't want to do that, it's almost telling the child, well, something is wrong with you. What do you think of that, Herb? And if you had any of that experience at all?
Yeah, it's funny. Say Christmas has always been a sensitive time of year for me. Like I've always picked up from a young age those that are left out, forgotten about, like we're talking about now, who may be going through a hard time, difficult time. And I always sensed that. I was very fortunate and blessed to have nice Christmases by my parents. I always had a present, always was involved in food. I just remember it sometimes being a difficult year because I'd feel overwhelmed sometimes with my father to want to pour his love into me through gifts, and I'd have too much and I'd be considerate of like others without these gifts. So that's another thing to consider for children, not to overwhelm them with too many things. I always like to encourage, like with my boy as well, growing up, like, well, what can we give to others that are missing out? Because it's very sad to see like one child getting attention or getting a present and another child being neglected or forgotten about, and that it's so like soul destroying. It's crushing really to see and imagine being in someone's shoes like that. So yeah, I always like to encourage to have that appreciation and thankfulness and gratitude for what we have and what a beautiful thing it is to share and to give to others and consider others. And yeah, and I see that passing through his life from these moments. You can see it, how he's more compassionate and kind generally.
Oh, that's incredible for a child. Phil, same thing for you?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, for me, Christmas was always quite a special time. But like Herb, I went through that period of time where I just found it all a bit disgraceful and just so much consumerism, so much waste, so much greed. So I really pulled back from Christmas for quite a few years. And now the last few years, I've started to re-enter. And I've always participated in it in a way, but sometimes I might not sit and eat Christmas dinner with my family because it was just all. I think Herb said in a different way about presents, but for me, the sheer volume of stuff was just overwhelming at that point in my life. And with what Lisa was saying, I've noticed with some people, it's like the worst possible day of the year, period of the year. And, I've learned to be really mindful and aware that, it's not the happiest time of the year. And for other people, it's like, come on, it's the only day of the year. It's like, what do you mean it's the only day of the year? We've got 364 other days. We don't have to be happy on one day. Again, this is what Herb was saying. Totally agree. Every day I can't say that I celebrate every single day, right? But there's room every day for a celebration if we feel that way. And the fact that people feel that they can only do it one day of the year, that for me is hard and quite sad.
It can be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure for in lots of ways for lots of people.
I hear parents going, I can't afford gifts for my child. I have to get a tree and I have to put some presents under that tree. Instead of saying, I'm so glad that it's a holiday, so now I don't have to work today and I can spend more time with my child and give more of myself. So I think we're the ones, we people, who make it either something that's thrilling to look forward to or something just like, what was that all about? And like Lisa was saying, for her, it's the coming together of the whole family and being with everyone. That is something that is just precious. and cannot be relegated to a certain year. But because of society, the way we've created society, we cannot take off a week or 2 weeks off of anything and just be together, except this one time, because it's the accepted time to do so. And it might be the worst time for us, depending what's going on in our lives. So could we recreate this at any time that we want? Do you think we ought to start considering that? Recreate the time where we can just take off and just be together and not be bothered by, you have to do this, do that, you need to pay this in time, you need to do this in time. Where were you? We couldn't find you. Da, da, da. When you think about that, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it can be. I mean, it absolutely can be recreated at any time of year where you can just gather and celebrate being alive and being connected. People really remember experiences. It's not the gifts that you give people. It's the experiences. If you ask children, what did you get out of your childhood? They're going to remember things that you did with them. They're not necessarily going to remember all the gifts that you bought for them over the years. So I think just, being flexible on it. Like for example, my family is, my brother and my sister-in-law are going to go back east because my niece is expecting a baby. So they won't be able to celebrate Christmas with us, but we're going over today to just connect and be together. That's, that's the way it should be. It doesn't have to be on a specific day. It's really about being with each other whenever that works.
I love that. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for that. And what about you, Herb? There we go, Herb. So,
My earphones back in, yes.
how do you feel about that? Is this something we can recreate for ourselves?
I
Whenever
think oh my goodness gracious. Yes, to me it seems, no disrespect, it seems backwards just to consolidate all this experience, these beautiful experiences and what we teach and preach just to one time of the year. It does not make sense to me. We don't know how long we're going to be here for. We could pop our clogs any moment, any day. So why not have this togetherness and get families together? It seems so silly that we can be so distant and take it for granted, and then just to save up for one day to make the effort and all a mad rush, which is a beautiful thing when it happens. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me to not to get together with loved ones and families, helping out communities, all these wonderful efforts to make people's lives better. Yeah, why not?
So thank you for that. Let's look at, Phil, at ways that we can actually change this and give of ourselves instead. That this be a giving season, a giving time, not of gifts, not of things we've bought, and not going into debt and credit card debt in order to purchase and buy things. And I think one of the things that shocked me the most was the first time I went to such a celebration, and I heard somebody make the comment, "I can't believe he got me this stupid thing." And how much did it cost him? It probably didn't even cost more than $50. So it seems to me that we've lost sight of the original meaning, maybe, of the original reason why we came together, of why we're together, and of the value of us being together. So should we then maybe postpone these until we have maybe family counseling? Should we bring a therapist to the event? Should we make it a time for healing instead? And how can we use this holiday to help us heal both ourselves and the family? We start with you, Phil.
Wow, I was getting ready for the last question. I think one of the really important things that seems to have been forgotten about is presence. Everybody is hell-bent on buying a present or giving a gift. And what we've really forgotten about, especially in our society, is the gift of being present. And that's a gift that we can give every single day to ourselves and everybody around us, right, is to be present, the gift of our presence. And, we need a lot of healing. I think it's the unresolved trauma, it's the, it's all the undissolved residues in our body, it's all the undigested food, it's all the food, it's all the social media. And we're so preoccupied with X, Y, and Z that actually it's so difficult for people to be present. And that's the real gift that I've learned, is to the best of my ability to be present with who I'm with and what I'm giving.
That's because you've done work on yourself. And so you know that your presence is precious, and it's the true, and therein lies the true gift. So you just brought up something which I was going to address later, but we may as well do it now since you brought it up. So these holidays seem to be centered much about food. Now, I'm not saying nourishment. I'm saying food, certain things that we eat. And to me, they seem to be the most toxic of anything we ever ate. And I don't understand how alcohol came to be a part of it. So can we just discuss that for a moment? For example, what is the difference between going to a well-laid table, and some tables are absolutely gorgeous, some are works of art, absolutely beautiful. But what's the idea of, I used to go to a silent retreat about November up in Northern California, and it's very far away. It's a real retreat. It's on a hillside, and there's nobody else around. And the retreat place was on the top of a hill and had all glass for walls. It had a whole wall of glass, and the turkeys would come up then, and they would their noise. They're very noisy, but they're just the most beautiful creatures. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, because I was fasted when I was there, and then I would come back just before what was in the U.S. Thanksgiving Day, and I remember thinking, they're just gorgeous creatures. I cannot believe people are plotting and planning to kill these creatures just for a day, and when there's so much other things that they could be eating. How did massacring these gentle, very intelligent, lovely creatures become part of this tradition and a festive occasion? Does anybody have an idea? And why is it so why are the things that we serve so toxic? For example, how would it feel if I came to a Christmas celebration and brought this? And this would be what I would be eating, a bowl of this. This is the Kiwana horned melon. What if I brought this? And everybody, and I gave this to everyone at the table. And look at the background for herb. What if that's what the table looked like? So how do we get this to be more accepted and not feel that we have to be so exhausted and tired after eating things that have no reason to be present in our bodies? And then I hear people use this word very loosely, and almost with excitement, they'll say the next day, I have food coma from yesterday. Why is that something to celebrate? Lisa, we're starting with you.
There's a lot of programming. People have this blueprint that's been laid out over history about what they identify as being a part of a holiday. And it's interesting when you step out of that narrative, because I think it makes people question why are you doing this? Sometimes it's genuine curiosity. Sometimes it's like we're losing you on some level, like you're not one of us. It's not quite usually that extreme, but it is interesting. Over the years, my family serves something that I've never eaten anyway, and so I just kind of work around it, and I'm okay with that, just because I think everybody should have permission to do what makes them feel good. And So I know it's not a holiday. Holidays are generally in our society not so kind to animals, which is heartbreaking. So that's another thing that potentially could shift over time.
Thank you for that, Lisa. We're going to bring this to Herb. Same question, same thing.
Exactly what Lisa mentioned about the programming and what Phil mentioned, not being present and not present with ourselves, to have the awareness to know what we're truly doing to ourselves and what we're contributing to others and to the environment, the world in itself. I feel, yeah, if we're educated or shown a way, like one of us, we rocked up to a Christmas do and bought our own food or something, and people ask us questions, why are you eating that? And then there's an opportunity to share. But it runs deeper than that. People like to, I'm guilty of it in the past myself, like to numb ourselves. There's that one time where we can get away with what we want before we go on this rigorous starvation program to unburden ourselves in the new year, all these New Year's resolutions. I just feel that just needs more of us to show and speak up on the ways. I remember having Christmas dinners when I first went vegan. I just ate Brussels sprouts, potatoes, and peas, and people were like, "What are you doing that for?" And then you kind of get, some people will mock you for it, but you just sit in your space and accept where people are at, not to get frustrated in wanting to make immediate change, and allow people to develop and deprogram and unlearn at their own pace. Sadly.
So, can we actually be okay with celebrating holidays that have nothing to do with food?
Yeah, absolutely. Food doesn't need to be involved. Fasting is a wonderful thing.
Yes, exactly. And that's why next week we are going to be the very unboxing day video right after Christmas, or live stream, or set will be about fasting. So it's the
Perfect.
solution that I'm giving to everyone who is going to be having that food coma. Phil, same thing with you, please. What does food have to be part of this? And can we still celebrate and do what Lisa was saying, is coming together as a family and just spending time with each other, and have it nothing to do with food, and that food just be the side event and not the main event?
Absolutely. I mean, now, because I've been on this raw food journey and cleaning my body out for 25 years, and now, I look at especially in the UK, every event is food. It's like, can't we just come together and be together? Can't we just come together and fast? Can't we just come together and enjoy herbal teas or juice? Does it have to be around these mountains of food? And the new word seems to be coma. People are like, they're chuffed that, oh, well, I'm going to be in a food coma after this. It's like, what? Why are we celebrating a food coma? What on earth is that about? And with our especially with the children, where we're celebrating either a birthday or a Christmas or a christening or something exciting, and it's always around, dare I say it, poisoning our children and our loved ones. And it's just so bizarre.
Yes, I'm glad you dared to say yes. Absolutely. It's, if we were eating things that were straight from the earth, and we were actually being with the farmers and on a farm, I think that would be a whole different experience. I'm talking about a real farm, not one with animal husbandry. I'm talking about where things grow, and we go out south in the fields and pick them. And I think I would love to see traditions like that and holidays like that, where we go to the farms and we help the farmers, and maybe we even we give gifts of ourselves to the farm hands, and we tell the farm hands, you can take today off, you'll still get paid, we're going to do your job for you, tell us what to do, and we're going to come here for a week and do that for you. That's the kind of stuff. When I was growing up, I remember at holidays. That's what we had to do just before the holiday. I would have to go, this was in Israel, in a kibbutz. And I grew up being very, very addicted to oranges and orange juice. Truly addicted. I didn't know I was until I went to France. And then I realized starting the morning without orange juice was just, I was having withdrawals. I literally thought I couldn't make it through the day. And so my family sent me to an orange grove, kibbutz with an orange grove. And I had to learn to go and pick the oranges, and I didn't know that there were thorns on oranges. And my skin, my hands, my fingers, I remember them giving me gloves to wear at the kibbutz. I thought, I don't need this. It would tore through my flesh. I had a whole different experience of the orange tree and a whole different sanctity for oranges after that. And the whole idea is that to go and give back to the land at holidays time, and give to the place, the people who actually give us the food. They grow it, they harvest it, they pack it up for us. Go and give them some time off, and then we come and we do this instead. For that reason, I loved holidays, and I learned so much. And I think if we could go to farms and the season right now in certain places, it's covered with snow, like Norway or Iceland. But they have greenhouses. Nowadays they have greenhouses. So or you could just maybe have a friend whose family left for Vietnam this morning, and they're going to go there to Vietnam. And I think, okay, then go to a place like Vietnam or Ecuador, and just go there and give of yourself to the farmers, just to the local society, and taste their fruits. And boy, Vietnam has some stunning fruits and things you never heard or saw before. And give back. Things Phil was talking about giving. So in the spirit of giving, what can we give of ourselves this holiday season that we've never done before? For example, if you know of a single mother with children, or a single father with children, or a grandparent who's raising the children of his grandchildren or her grandchildren, how about telling them, I'm going to give you a day or two at the spa, and I will take care of the children for you? Or the opposite, say, I'm going to take the children, so you have a day to yourself at home, and you just have time for yourself. Or how about saying, to your favorite farmer, how about if I gave you a series of massages? Give it, but I'll give you a certificate to get massages, and things like that, where we give back to the people who work so much on our behalf all year long, rather than the people who gossip behind our backs, who really wonder when they give you a gift, how come this person giving me a gift? And why? And why do they feel obligation to give me a gift? And then why do I now feel obligated to give one back? And this is something which I really would love to see changed. I would love to see the giving be of ourselves, as Phil said before. Lisa, any suggestions? I think Lisa's having problems with her.
Sorry, here I am. It wasn't allowing me to unmute. I love the idea of giving your time. I think that for people that don't have that luxury of having time for themselves, I think that's such a wondrous and beautiful thing to give. I have a family member who, as a family, decided who they were going to give money to without that person knowing. So they did a whole thing where they had an envelope of cash, and then they had somebody deliver it to this person, which I love.
That in itself is something that is so extraordinary, and it's unexpected. I love the unexpected because I live for surprises. The ones that pleasant ones, of course, and I am learning to accept unpleasant ones too, because that's part of living on Earth. So, Herb, how would you like to add something to this? What kind of gift given would you like to see?
It's a very beautiful idea and suggestions that you made, you know, giving someone, offering your time, your energy, your presence, like you mentioned, to a family, to a father or mother, allow them space. That's what most of us need. We need the opportunity to at least have a breather, relax, and what will emanate from that will be truly beautiful and wonderful. It's going to proliferate that good energy to themselves and to their loved ones. It'd be beautiful to hold someone's hand and hold their arm, walk them through the woods and be able to absorb and feel nature, because so many of us so distracted, and when we are tired and we do get that opportunity to have a rest, people just want to like lay down, and I don't blame them. They want to recharge. So that would be the first thing that comes to my mind, was to provide for someone, get them outside, guide them, get their body moving, and nourish them on beautiful fruit. That would be the first thing I would suggest.
I like that idea of taking them out into the woods,
Mm.
holding their hands, taking them on, you know, a walk in the forest. Oh, I think that's just one of the most exquisite ways, is to spend time with somebody in the forest, especially if they're not used to it. If they're used to a town, like you grew up in London, can you imagine if somebody had taken you away for a weekend and just taken you to the woods for the weekend in the forest, and, alongside some babbling brook? It feels it for you too.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I love the way that you think. I mean, some of the suggestions you've got there are just incredible. One of the things that I used to love doing when I was a lad was going down to our local farm. I used to spend all of my summer holidays on the farm, helping the farmer do the bale cart and the corn cart, and you know, get everything in ready for the winter. So that was, you know, and for me, I didn't feel like I was gifting him. It felt like he was gifting me, because he gave me the opportunity to go and help him. So for me, that was the gift, was him allowing me to go on the farm when I was 10 or 11 years old and onwards, to help him. So yeah, I guess I was gifting him, but I didn't see it that way. I saw him as gifting me, because, you know, for me, it just gave me, after being at school all through the term, it just gave me a real sense of well-being and balance and excitement, and I loved it. And the other thing was, I used to go and spend the rest of my time with my grandfather, that, as I've said before, was a gamekeeper, and I used to work really hard for him. But again, I didn't see that I was giving him something. It was like he was giving me an experience, and um, and I used to love it, being as present as I could be as a child, all over the place, but as present as I could be, you know, and learning the gifts that those men shared with me.
I am thrilled with the fact that you went to help the farmer get ready for the next season, to help bring in the next season. Because most of us do not live seasonally. My next book is actually about living seasonally. So this comes this for me just is very, very strong, what you said. And if you have the physical experience of getting ready for the winter, which doesn't mean buying winter clothes, doesn't mean buying anything, but you're literally with your own hands and with the earth, preparing the earth and yourself for winter. Oh, I think that is one of the most incredible things. Think about that, Herb. If your son at some point before teenage years would do something like that, the difference that that would make. If you and your son would go to some place like that and help prepare for winter, help the farmer or somebody in the countryside prepare for winter, what do you think that would add to his life and yours as well?
Oh, it's like Phil mentioned, it's the gift of giving, like giving our time, and that will gift us back so much. It's going to give us a more harmonious connection with each other and with the earth and the time. And yeah, like you mentioned, preparing the land for what's to come, and really integrating ourselves with the cycles. It's all love, isn't it? Really, it's all an outlet for love and another expression to feel and experience and share the love.
And when we do this, we help prepare the land. We're preparing ourselves
Mm.
also for
Mm.
the next season. And when we prepare ourselves for the next season, we're living, you use the word harmoniously. We're living harmoniously with nature. We're living harmoniously with the cycles of the earth. We're living, really living, because we're participating in it and not looking at it from the outside in. And so the dread of winter is lost. You no longer
Mm.
dread winter. You start to welcome it. You realize that every season, if you partake in it, in the welcoming of it, and preparation for it on a physical level, meaning in the land, then you begin. That's why I really like farmers, because they have a whole different acceptance of the seasons and a whole
Mm.
different reverence for the seasons that most of us do not have. I was fortunate that I was, had the opportunity to work the land and to be on the land and realize just how important it was. Then when I came to Los Angeles, I joined a Japanese wellness center. One of the first things that we did as members, that we learned how to work the land, and we learned about soil. There was a film called Living Soil, and we looked into the soil. We began to realize that food didn't just come from the soil. They had a microscope and they looked at all these tiny creatures that you couldn't see with your bare eyes, who actually are there making our food for us, cultivating and putting everything together. And I didn't realize there was a whole world underneath our feet where the food grows. I had a huge reverence then for farmers, even more than I thought I had already. And I just love the way the Japanese looked at it. It's a film called, if you ever find it, Living Soil. Living Soil. The soil is alive. There's so much going on, and it changes seasonally. I just was in awe after that of how many hands, visible and invisible, really partake in giving us our food and our nourishment, our enjoyment. I mean, this looks like this is scrumptious and it's juicy and it's delightful. But do you know how many beings I am now, the energy of how many beings I am taking inside of me when I do this, which is why I am going to be doing, I'm going to go back to what I used to do before lockdown. My life really changed since then. I used to do workshops on the sacred art of eating, teaching people how to eat, showing them films of what goes on in the soil, etc. And I'm going to start doing that again with Bella Payne, who took over for Lisa when she was away. And Bella is a pianist and voice coach, and we're going to put evening together once a month, where people come and begin to connect their voices through singing with digestion. Because most people don't realize that the vagus nerve, the largest nerve of the body, actually is in charge of digestion. But it's also connected to when we sing. And that when you sing after you eat, it aids the digestive process. So we're going to have people come and experience this for themselves. And I'm going to be teaching how to eat mindfully. And mindfully doesn't mean just, using the senses. That would be part of it too. But being aware, where did this come from, and how many beings, the work of how many people and their energies you are now putting in your body. You're not just eating for deliciousness or for, I cannot stand the word calories. There's no such thing as calories. We're eating energy. And I really cannot take the whole lot. I cannot, when I hear that word, it's some things I've tried very hard to let go of and not let it irk me. But that word calories does. Because it couldn't be further from the truth. We're eating energy, and all the energies that goes into what we're taking on. We're a bowl of energy, and depends on the energy we're taking on. So I would like to wish for everyone who's watching this today, and whenever you watch this, be mindful, be thoughtful of all the energies that you're putting into or on your body. And my book, Being Healthy, is going to be launched soon. And in there, I talk about all things, Lisa. Yes, it's been a long time coming. All the different ways in which we in our lives either give of our energies or take on it. It needs to be a conscious process of giving and taking. It needs to be synergistic. I give, I take, you give, you take. And how can we do this in a way that everyone benefits from, whether we realize it or not? So anything you'd like to wish our audience or for yourself before we close today? Lisa first, of course.
I just wish for our audience that they have experience a holiday season on their terms and whatever that means for them. And that at the end of the day, we're so grateful for those that watch this show and participate and learn. I feel like I learn from each of these magical people, and it is transformative, the show itself. So I pray that you have a holiday that is on your terms. I pray for peace for everybody and love. And thank you for being a part of our show.
Thank you, Lisa. And on our terms, I really like that. Herb.
Yeah, I wish everyone the best and everyone is able to relax and absorb the love and peace that surrounds us and that comes within ourselves, and yeah, to be open and clear and to go into the new year with love and kindness for ourselves, which will be shared with everyone else around us.
Thank you, Herb and Phil.
The thing I wish for all the viewers and everybody is to find that deep peace within, because that is such a gift. So peace and blessings to everybody and for everybody.
And that's something no one can take away from you. And so before we leave, I'd like to leave our audience with this. So we give of ourselves when we give gifts of the heart, love, kindness, joy, understanding, sympathy, tolerance, forgiveness. And I would like to add, when we share whatever we have, if we only have this one melon, that we shared with maybe two others, that we share everything that we are and have gained in this life with others. It's in the sharing that our life has full meaning. So please share this video, share our live streams every Friday at this time. We are going to be here next week. We're going to be seeing, we won't be here, but we'll be showing you a recording that we did before on fasting. And then the week after, we have a very special guest with Rosalind Graham, who will be here with us. So make sure you join us. That's the 2nd of January. Let's start the year really being healthy. Thanks, everyone. And thanks so much to also, he's not here today, but I want to thank Pete and Hannah as well. And also Sabina, who's in Germany at the moment. Thanks, everyone. We really are glad and happy that you were able to join us today. And please join us every Friday, same time, same place. Bye, everyone.